My name is Laura. I am 34 years old. 3 years ago, my world changed completely. I lost two people I loved on the same day, my husband and my best friend. The pain was sudden, sharp, and impossible to prepare for. I did not see it coming. I thought I knew people. I thought I understood love and loyalty. I believed I was careful. I believed I was kind. I believed trust was safe. I was wrong. Her name was Emily, and she had been my friend for 8 years. I met Emily when I was 26, working in a small marketing office downtown. The printer jammed that morning, and we both reached for the paper at the same time. I remember her laugh, bright, confident, easy. "Looks like it's going to be one of those mornings," she said. I smiled. It felt natural to speak to her. She walked with purpose, dressed elegantly, and everyone seemed drawn to her. I was quiet, observant, careful. But with Emily, I did not need to guard myself. Within weeks, we shared lunches every day. At first, sandwiches from the corner shop, but soon, homemade meals and coffee breaks that lasted an hour. She told me about her childhood. Her parents divorced when she was young, leaving her lonely sometimes. She said she hated being alone. I told her about my father. He died when I was 18. Since then, I feared losing people I loved. She understood. Or at least, I thought she did. Our weaknesses felt safe in each other's company. 2 years later, I met Daniel. He was calm, steady, unassuming. Not the loud, charming type, but solid, grounded, reliable. On our third date, he told me, "I believe marriage is forever." I smiled. It felt serious. "Loyalty is the most important thing in life," he added. I called Emily that night. "I think I met someone serious," I said. She screamed with excitement. "Finally, someone worthy of you," she said. 2 weeks later, she met Daniel. They talked easily. She laughed at his dry humor. I felt proud to introduce them. The three of us became comfortable together. Weekends often meant cooking or movies. Daniel respected Emily's intelligence. She asked questions, made jokes, shared stories. I thought it was normal friendship. But now I remember small moments I ignored. When I got a promotion at work, Emily smiled, but her eyes didn't. She always asked about Daniel, his job, our travels, the gifts he gave me. At the time, I told myself she was just curious. Now I know she was measuring, comparing, wanting. When Daniel proposed a year later, Emily cried harder than I did. On my wedding day, she held my bouquet while I adjusted my dress. She whispered, "You deserve this happiness." I believed her. But during our first dance, her eyes followed Daniel across the room. Not celebrating, just watching. I told myself I imagined it. Life felt calm afterward. Daniel worked long hours in finance, structured days. I continued in marketing, busy but flexible. We were not rich, but we had peace. Emily sometimes came over. Sometimes we cooked together. Sometimes we watched movies. She said she hadn't found the right man. "Maybe I'm too independent," she joked. Daniel told her she'd find someone. I noticed she stopped dating after my engagement. At the time, I thought it was work. Now, I wonder if she had already chosen someone. My someone. The first small change was subtle. Emily started visiting when I was still at work. She lived nearby, so it seemed normal. Daniel sometimes worked from home. I told myself it was casual. One evening, I came home early with a headache. The house smelled faintly of coffee and the vanilla candle I left burning. I opened the door and heard laughter. Emily's. My chest tightened. I walked in. They were on the sofa, talking. Not touching, not too close, but their energy felt different. "Oh, you're home early," Emily said quickly. Daniel stood. "How was your day?" he asked, smiling. Everything seemed normal, but it wasn't the same. Something was off. After that, her visits increased. Sometimes she brought dessert. Sometimes she said she needed advice about work. Daniel was kind, patient, attentive. I told myself it was good, supportive. But small details began to bother me. Emily dressed differently when she came. Fitted clothes, more perfume, more makeup. She laughed more at Daniel's jokes. Once, I saw her lightly touch his arm while speaking. Nothing, I told myself, but it wasn't nothing. I mentioned it once. "Laura, she's your best friend," Daniel said gently. "Don't be paranoid." Paranoid. The word echoed in my mind. Was I imagining it? I began to doubt my instincts. That doubt felt heavy, sticky, impossible to shake. And yet, deep down, a small alarm kept ringing, a soft warning I refused to hear. This part of my life felt perfect, stable. I believed in friendship, in love, in honesty. But now, in retrospect, the first cracks were there. Small, almost invisible. And the danger was walking quietly toward me, step by step, laughter by laughter. I believed my heart was safe. The small alarm in my chest grew louder over time. I started noticing patterns. Emily's visits became more frequent, often unannounced. At first, I told myself it was convenient. She lived nearby. Daniel listened to her carefully, offering advice, nodding, smiling. I told myself it was harmless. I trusted both of them. But the subtle energy in the room began to feel different. He was calm, yes, but she laughed differently, leaned a little closer, lingered a little longer. It was still nothing, yet it was not nothing. One evening, I came home early from work. My head was pounding. I thought a quiet night would help. I walked into the apartment and froze. Emily sat on the sofa, Daniel beside her. They were talking, not touching, not laughing loudly, but there was a closeness, a warmth, a shared secret I did not belong to. "Oh, you're home early," Emily said, her voice too quick. Daniel stood. "How was your day?" he asked. I forced a smile, nodded, tried to shake the unease curling in my stomach. After that day, I began observing more. Small moments, the way Emily's hand brushed Daniel's, the way she tilted her head while laughing, the way he leaned slightly toward her even when I was present. At first, I rationalized. Maybe I was imagining things. Maybe I was tired. Maybe it was harmless. But the feeling in my gut, that quiet warning, never left. I tried to ignore it. I told myself, "Laura, she's your best friend. Don't let your mind create problems." But the mind is persistent when it senses danger. I noticed how Emily started dressing differently when she came over. More fitted clothing, new perfume, subtle makeup. And Daniel's eyes lingered, just for a moment, when she walked into the room. Nothing overt, nothing I could accuse, but enough to make my heart race. I remembered the first day I had met Emily at the printer. Laughter had connected us, had made me trust her instantly. Now, that same laughter felt like a warning I hadn't listened to. I tried to confront my feelings by talking to Daniel casually. "Laura," he said once, seeing my concern, "she's your best friend. Don't be paranoid." Paranoid. That word echoed in my mind endlessly. I wanted to believe him, to calm myself, but the evidence, however small, accumulated. Whispers, shared glances, subtle touches, tiny silences when I entered the room. I tried to tell myself these were coincidences, but a quiet part of me knew they were not. We celebrated my birthday 2 weeks later. Emily gave me a silver necklace. She hugged me tightly. "For my best friend always," she said. Daniel gave me perfume in a delicate blue bottle. I noticed the perfume immediately, the same scent Emily had begun wearing recently. My heart sank briefly. "Coincidence," I said aloud. Daniel smiled. "I guess we have similar taste." But the unease remained. The small cracks in my life were growing. Moments that seemed innocent now felt like pieces of a puzzle forming a picture I did not want to see. Every visit, every laugh, every shared glance between them started to weigh heavily on my mind. I tried to carry on, to ignore, to trust. I reminded myself of all the years of friendship, of all the promises, of all the laughter we shared. But trust was no longer simple. Every instinct I had screamed quietly that something was wrong, but I hesitated. I hoped, I rationalized, I told myself I was imagining things. And yet the cracks kept spreading, small and almost invisible, but undeniable. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to preserve the life I had built, the safe life, the love I believed was true. But a part of me was already bracing for the inevitable. Something had changed, slowly, quietly, and I could no longer ignore it. I believed the alarm in my chest was just anxiety. I believed they would not betray me. I believed my friendship and love were safe. But deep down, I knew I was waiting for a storm I could not see yet. The moment of truth arrived unexpectedly. I had planned a quiet afternoon at home, thinking a little break from work would help me rest. The meeting I was supposed to attend was canceled at the last minute. I decided to surprise Daniel with his favorite coffee. It was a small gesture, but one I always enjoyed. I walked up the steps slowly, my heart calm but alert. The apartment was silent. No music, no television, no chatter. Just quiet. I placed the coffee on the counter and listened carefully. A faint sound, whispering, soft, almost tender. My heart skipped. I crept toward our bedroom. The door was closed. I paused. A whisper again. Then silence. My chest tightened. I opened the door slowly. Emily was near the window, adjusting her blouse. Daniel was standing by the bed, shirtless. Their eyes met mine. His face went white. I did not scream. I did not shout. I did not move violently. I simply asked, "How long?" Emily's voice trembled immediately. "It just happened," she said, tears forming. Daniel could not look at me. His hands hung limply by his side. I repeated the question, firmer this time. "How long?" Daniel whispered, barely audible. 3 months. 3 months. 3 months of secrets. 3 months of texts while I cooked dinner. 3 months of whispers behind my back. 3 months of touches I pretended not to notice. 3 months of inside jokes I was excluded from. 3 months of lies at my own table. I stared at them. My hands felt icy. My legs shook. I felt a tightness in my chest I had never known. They tried to explain. Emily's tears fell freely. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said. Daniel looked at her, ashamed. "It started with talking," he whispered. "She was lonely. I was stressed. We connected. Then one night, it crossed the line." "Mistake?" I asked sharply. "A mistake is forgetting keys. A mistake is sending the wrong email." This was a choice. Many choices, I said quietly, but each word cut sharply. Every choice they had made to betray me felt deliberate, precise, studied. Daniel's lips quivered. "I love you," he said, but his words sounded hollow to me. It was not about love anymore. It was about trust. Betrayal is never accidental when it is repeated. The person you rely on, the person who knows your fears and your heart, does not simply stumble into deceit. They step in consciously, armed with knowledge of exactly where to hurt you. I sat silently, observing the two people I had loved most. Emily had studied me, my routines, my vulnerabilities. She knew my history of loss, my fear of abandonment, the insecurities I carried from my father's death. And she used them. Daniel, the man I had married for his calm, his loyalty, his promise of forever, had chosen her over me, again and again. I felt my throat tighten, my hands shaking, but I did not cry. The tears I had once shed for fear, for confusion, for uncertainty, had dried up. I felt something else now, clarity. The love I had for Daniel had been real, but love without honesty is empty. Loyalty, once broken, cannot be restored with words alone. The night stretched long. Emily left in tears. Daniel remained. He begged, pleaded, tried to justify. But his words no longer carried the power to bind me. I had already taken the first step out of betrayal. The next morning, I packed a small suitcase. Not because I had nowhere to go, but because I needed space. I needed silence. I moved into a small apartment near my office. The first night was raw and painful, but it was honest. No pretending, no whispers, no hidden glances. Just silence. Clean, honest silence. I could breathe. Slowly, the tension in my chest began to ease. Weeks passed. Emily tried calling repeatedly. Messages poured in. "I never meant to hurt you," she typed over and over. But intention does not erase action. It does not heal the wounds caused by repeated deception. Actions, not words, define betrayal. She had chosen and she had acted. Every choice left a scar. Every smile, every laugh, every shared moment of secrecy was another mark on the truth I had been denied. Daniel asked to meet me one last time at a quiet cafe. He appeared thinner, exhausted, worn from guilt and sleepless nights. He tried to reason, to plead, to salvage what was left. I listened, calm, composed. His presence no longer terrified me, nor did it tempt me. My heart had hardened with knowledge. I told him carefully, "You did not lose me in a single moment. You lost me every time you chose silence over honesty. Every time you made me doubt myself. Every time you dismissed my instincts. You lost me then." His eyes filled with tears. I felt nothing but quiet clarity. Calm is not the absence of feeling, it is the presence of certainty. Sometimes calm is the moment when love has already been released. 3 months later, the paperwork was complete. Divorce, quiet signatures, no confrontation, no spectacle. Emily moved to another city. Daniel attempted contact for a while, then stopped. Life continued, slowly. Healing was gradual, painful, but necessary. I reflected endlessly, asking myself questions. Was I too trusting? Too attentive to work? Too blind? Slowly, a truth settled within me. Betrayal is not caused by the victim. It is chosen by the betrayer. 3 years later, I am stronger, wiser, more careful. The loss of my husband stings less than the loss of my best friend, for loyalty, once broken, is impossible to regain fully. Emily's choices had taught me the most valuable lesson of my life. Not everyone who stands beside you is standing for you. Sometimes the person clapping the loudest at your wedding is quietly wishing for your place. The friend who knows all your fears can be the one who exploits them. And yet, I survived. I rebuilt. I trusted myself first. I learned the difference between love that protects and love that destroys. I discovered the strength in walking away, in claiming space, in reclaiming peace. The rain that once felt like the end became a cleansing. The betrayal that once shattered me became a lesson I carry now. to trust carefully, to value loyalty, and to recognize when people are choosing themselves over you, consistently. I believed I had been safe, surrounded by love and friendship. I was wrong, but I am alive. I am whole. I am wiser. The storm passed, leaving a calm I had never known before. And in that calm, I discovered my power. Life after betrayal was quieter than I expected. The first weeks in my new apartment were empty, almost painfully so. No Emily laughing in the living room, no Daniel sitting across the table with a smile, no familiar footsteps in the hall. At first, the silence felt heavy. I walked through the room slowly, touching the furniture, noticing how still everything was. I could hear my own breathing. I could hear the wind brushing against the window. I spent nights awake, replaying the past. Every smile, every touch, every whispered word came back with sharp clarity. I questioned myself constantly. Was I not enough? Was I blind? I wondered if my kindness had been my weakness. But slowly, day by day, I realized the truth. Betrayal is not about you. It is about the choices of others. I began small. I cooked for myself again. Simple meals, my favorite tea in the mornings. I organized my apartment. Each drawer, each shelf, a small victory. A place for everything. Everything in its place. It was a way to take control, to reclaim what was mine. My heart still ached, but my mind was clearer. I returned to work, not hiding, not rushing. I met colleagues, laughed quietly at their jokes, and felt my confidence returning. I even shared a few stories of my experiences, carefully, cautiously, noticing how much I had grown. The office no longer felt like a place of distraction, but a place of focus, of rebuilding. I started writing again. I had always loved writing, but life had crowded it out. Now I poured thoughts, fears, and lessons onto paper. Each word, a release. Each sentence, a step forward. I wrote about trust, about loyalty, about heartbreak. I wrote to understand myself. I wrote to heal. Slowly, I allowed myself small joys. A short walk in the park, feeling sunlight on my face. Listening to music without a sense of guilt. I even took a solo trip, something I would never have done before. A weekend in the mountains, breathing air that smelled of pine and rain. I felt freedom, not the freedom from someone, but freedom for myself. Friends reached out. Some I had neglected during the years of routine and work. Some I had lost entirely. I rebuilt relationships slowly, carefully, trusting those who had proven their loyalty. I learned to recognize love that protects, love that supports, and love that chooses honesty over convenience. 3 years later, I am different, not hardened, but wiser. I know what to watch for now. I trust, but I measure. I love, but I observe. I am stronger, not because I am angry, but because I have survived. Because I have chosen myself. Sometimes I see Emily's posts online. She is smiling, living her life. It no longer stirs rage or despair. I feel pity, the smallest quiet kind. People rarely change, they find new victims. I no longer fear her or Daniel. I am free from their shadows. I have learned that true strength is quiet. It is not loud declarations. It is living your life with honesty, care, and dignity. It is choosing who deserves your heart carefully. It is understanding that betrayal is not your failure. It is theirs. And knowing this, I can move forward without carrying their choices inside me. I sometimes sit in the park where I first realized my power. I watch people passing by. I smile at small joys. I savor moments of peace. I buy myself flowers. I laugh at jokes I used to ignore. I'm learning again to love myself. The lessons are clear. Trust is precious. Loyalty is rare. Not everyone who stands beside you is standing for you. And betrayal, when it comes, does not have to destroy you. You can survive. You can rebuild. You can choose better. I am Laura, and 3 years ago, I lost 2 people I loved most. Today, I am whole. Today, I am stronger. Today, I am free. And that freedom is mine alone. I tell my story now, hoping someone will hear it and learn. To trust carefully, to love wisely, to value loyalty, to survive, to rebuild, and to know that the heart, once broken, can still become whole again. Some people are not losses. They are lessons. Fee was mine. Emily was my lesson. And now, my story can be a lesson to anyone listening. Thank you for listening to this story. If it touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to the Cozy English Story channel. Your support helps more stories reach people like you and helps us all learn English while feeling every moment of life's lessons.